Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay. I have a little rose back there and this is Coloring Bliss. Today we're going to talk about Pentel. I have an obsession with Pentel pens, and recently someone recommended a new type of Pentel pen that I haven't tried yet, and so I had to order them and bring them in and give them a try. As you can see here in front of me, I have a ton of Pentel pens. I'm going to go quickly through these for you, so if you are looking for some good pens, you'll know which ones I recommend. Some of them I would tell you to go buy right away because it's worth every penny, and some of them I would tell you not to spend your money on because it's not worth it. So I'll go over these pens really quickly, but the box that we're here to talk about today is this box right here, the Mattehop ballpoint pens. These aren't gel pens, and usually I only collect gel pens, but I've heard such good things about them, I had to give them a try. And one thing I'm excited about is that they have a bold tip, and that means it's got a 1.0 millimeter tip on the end of the pen, and that will let a lot of ink flow. Now that's why I love some of these gel pens, and some of them are fine point nib, and so I'm not a huge fan of those ones. So actually, let's start by talking about what gel pens I would tell you not to buy. Now just a second, Jennifer, before you get started on this really fun video, I need to tell all of you about our giveaway, because we did a battle of 20 different gel pen brands. We found the winner, which is this one right here, AEN Art, and now we want to give away 5 of these sets to 5 lucky viewers. There's a link in the video description so that you can get over to our website and get all your entries in. Now you need to know that this giveaway started May 29th and will end June 19th, but the winner won't be announced until June 20th via email. That's really important. Please don't get scammed. Up on the screen right now, you're going to see some things to look for so that you don't get scammed, but most importantly, here at Coloring Bliss, we will never ask for money from you for a prize. We pay for shipping, we pay for the product, the whole thing. So if someone asks you for money, that's a scam. Run away. So good luck everyone. I can't wait to give away this beautiful, look at all these gel pens. 5 of you get to win this beautiful huge set of gel pens. Good luck everyone, and I hope you have fun with the video. Now back to Jennifer. All right, look at this beautiful collection, and there's all different types of bodies and different types of caps. We'll go through this really quickly so that we can get to the new Mattehop pens as fast as possible. Now, a couple sets that I would tell you not to worry about purchasing. One is the Mattehop pens. Now, they are a beautiful pastel, opaque ink, and when you first buy them, they flow and work really well. But one of the things I don't like about the Pentel Mattehop is that it is a 0.8 millimeter nib, so it's a medium-sized nib, and it dries up fast. All of my Pentel Mattehop pens dry up before I can use all the ink, and that's frustrating to me. So I don't recommend the Mattehops. Now the next ones that I don't recommend are the Solar Pops. Now the Solar Pop pens are good value, so are the Mattehop pens, but I find I don't reach for them very often. One of the reasons is because they have a fine nib, a 0.6 millimeter nib. This is what the Solar Pop looks like. I've had good luck with the ink in the Solar Pop, but I just don't use fluorescent gel pens very often. So I don't reach for them. They're going to dry up before I can use them. They're not a bold nib, so I don't recommend the Solar Pop line. Now, I also don't recommend this line right here. These are the Swatching pens. I think that's how you say it. Let me bring it up to screen so you can see how it says SLICCI. These are a metallic pen, and they are a beautiful pen. They have some really pretty colors, but they're a fine point nib, and I have a really hard time doing my kind of art with a teeny tiny fine point nib. So for $18 for 8 of these, it comes in at $2.30 per pen for a beautiful metallic pen, but a pen that I don't reach for. So I don't recommend the Swatching line. Let's move those to the side. Now, this is another line that I haven't been super impressed by. This is the metallic gel pen Sunburst line. Let me show you that pen here. Some of them have had flow issues from day one on these metallic pens. I like the body that they have them in. They just, I don't know, they have a medium point tip, so again, I don't reach for them very often because it's harder to color and do art with them, so they're not one of my favorites. So this line of Sunburst pens are about $8.84 for 5, so they're not too expensive, but I would tell you to pass on them and hold out for some of these other pens that I'm about to show you. Now we're getting into the Pentel products that I do recommend. Let's start right here with these 3 pens. This is a 3-pen set that was recommended to me. We did a test of these pens in a previous video, so I'll link that video in case you want to deep dive into these pens. They're a very different body shape. They have a 1.0 millimeter nib, so I reach for these pens. They have a nice latex grip here for you to hold on to. They're a beautiful pen in the hand, very different styling from these other pens that we're going to look at, but these are by far the most expensive for me here in the United States. These guys right here are $13.32 for the 3, so that's $4.44 per pen. Very pricey, but they are a really good pen. I haven't had them long enough to know if I'm going to use the ink fast enough before it dries up, so I'll keep using them and I'll let you know in the future if they're still one of my favorite pens. So now we're getting into the pens that I recommend you really need. And that specifically is the Sparkle Pop and Crazy Pop line. These 2 sets right here. Let me show you. The Crazy Pop looks like this. The Crazy Pop has, I believe, 4 colors in the line. You can get them for $8.22 right now here in the United States on Amazon. So they are a good value, and the ink lasts a long time. The Sparkle Pop pen, same deal. They have a beautiful gold and silver. Let me show you what the Sparkle Pop set looks like. I like these so much that I have extras of these. They have a bold nib. They have a latex grip. They feel good in the hand, flow very well, very consistently. So they're really worth it. The Sparkle Pop pens for 8, like you see here, is $12.69. That's a really good price right now. Makes me want to buy another package, but I already have a backup package, so I don't need more of them. But typically I see them more like $14, $15 for this set, which would put them at about $1.82 per pen on a normal non-sale day. Now, if you are outside of the US, you might find these exact same pens in a different body. In these right here, these are the hybrid dual metallic pens. And that brings me to what makes these super, super special. These inks are sort of a hybrid between metallic and glitter gel pens, and a lot of them, not the silver and the gold, but all the others have a dual sheen. So depending on whether you're coloring on black paper or white paper, or whether you move it in the light, you'll see 2 different colors. So much fun. They make adding little details in your art or doing a whole letter written in these pens. They're just beautiful and worth every penny. So whether you can get the dual metallic, which for me, the dual metallics right now are, let's see, hybrid dual metallic are $17.62 for 8. So they're about the same price as the Crazy Pops and the Sparkle Pops. So I will definitely link these 3 sets for you in the video description. If you like this kind of ink that is dual hybrid and glittery and metallic-y, then you're also going to want to look at the dual metallic brush pens. Now, we did do a full video review on these. We discovered that they have the same ink as the Pentel Sparkle Pop pens. So they are amazing. You just get them with a brush nib. Let me show you what they look like. They have a little pump action on the back to get the ink flowing, and have a nice brush nib for doing details. It's great for lettering, great for coloring in things. They are just a really good pen. So I would recommend this set right here, which the dual metallic brush pens are a little bit more pricey. They're $22.26 for this box. You get 8 colors, so that's about $2.78 per brush marker. And then, like I said, I recommend these gel pens here. I think everybody who has ever purchased these that I've recommended them to love them and usually end up buying more because they are that good. Wait just a minute now before you go buy those Crazy Pop and Sparkle Pop Pentel pens. I want to let you know that we recently discovered a much more budget-friendly and awesome option that may replace those 2 sets of pens. So this weekend we have a video coming up all about these new pens. Make sure you subscribe and you've hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel here so you don't miss out on that video. Now let's talk about the pens that inspired this video, the Mattehop. Now, like I said, these aren't gel pens, and typically I only collect gel pens, but I heard such good things about these ones. The box is really fun and cute, lots of Japanese on the box, a little bit of English when it comes to the color names, which will help us as we're swatching. But this is just a fun, I'm really excited to see what we're up for kind of box. And as I'm looking, it looks like they have a different way of opening this box. I'm glad I looked a little closer. You're supposed to put your thumb in here, and this is like opening Kraft macaroni and cheese boxes. They make it look like it's going to be easy, but then it's not. Oh, there we go. There. Woo, look at that reveal. That's really fun. So let's take a look at it, the words here on the sides. That's a really fun, very comic inspired looking pen. Look how pretty. Let's take a look at one. Oh, and look, they have the color right there, so you know the green goes back there. So this is similar to the body of the hybrid, the dual metallic hybrid pens that I've already shown you. So it's a lot longer. It says made in Japan. Let me bring it up to screen so you can see. On the cap it says Pentel Mattehop. It's got a number. Let's see if every number is the same. Yep, K110. Not sure what that means, but it does have the color name on the back side. Look at that. Pentel does such a good job with pens. We take the cap off. It posts on the back everything we need in a pen. There's no silicone grippy here, but they do have some grippy lines to help you hold on to the pen. And the pen isn't exactly round. It's more hexagonal, I think, or octagonal. I don't know how many sides there are, but it's not a perfectly round pen. So that's interesting. All right, we've got a lot of pens to swatch, and I want to swatch them 2 ways because when you read the literature about the pen, they really talk about them being very opaque, so you can write on top of things, on top of photographs or on top of different colored papers, and the color should stand up to that. So I have 2 swatch books here. I have my black swatch book and my white swatch book. If you're looking for some really awesome swatch books, we produce swatch books here at coloringbliss.com that have different size squares, different size papers, and we also have books that are brand specific, like to Prismacolor or to Tombow. We have all kinds of swatch books, so come on over to our website and check that out. So I'm going to set up these swatch pages with the names of the pens, and then we will swatch them together. First up, we're going to swatch all 14 pens on white, and then we'll move over to black and see how they perform there. So as you're watching me swatch these pretty colors, I wanted to mention that the box that you see me using today, I purchased for $28. So there's 14 pens in there, so that's about $2 per pen. So it comes in a little bit higher than some of the other Pentel gel pens that I showed you today, but not as the most expensive like the hybrid gel grip. So I think it's a really good value, but we'll decide that as we see them swatched out. Okay, when I first started swatching these, I was immediately disappointed. They were not coming across very brightly. But as I swatched down the row, my eyes went back to the very first color and I realized that I had judged too quickly, because as that ink dries, it gets much more bright and vibrant and opaque. It's pretty magical. So as you watch this time lapse, enjoy how it changes as the ink dries. Now I also wanted to read the description from the Amazon post because all the writing on the box is in Japanese, so that's the best place I could find for some information on these pens. They say, these are a newly developed ballpoint pen with a matte color ink that makes illustrations and letters stand out clearly. With its unprecedented presence, you can easily enjoy decorating with a more impactful impression than you can imagine. Alright, I'm getting more and more excited the more I play with these pens. In fact, they are so vibrant on black. I've thumbed back through some of my other swatches here to see what else has vibrant colors that are pens. These are the Posca paint pens, and I think these are more vibrant on black than my Posca paint pens. Let's see. Here are the Pentel Sunbursts, the Sleechy, the Hybrids, the Crazy Pops, Sparkle Pops. Not until you hit the Milky Pops, which are a lot more opaque. They were supposed to be opaque and pastel. That's when they start to compete with our new Mattehop. There's the Solar Pop pens. They didn't perform very well on white. Here's some Jelly Roll pens, metallics, gold, silver, souffle, glaze down here. Oh, the Moonlight pens. Now those could compete with these new ones. So that's interesting. You'd have to go way back to the Moonlight pens to find a competitor to the opacity and color vibrancy that we're getting from the Pentel Mattehop. Okay, let's talk about the color variety that they've given us here. Let me bring up the white. One thing that was spectacular to me is this ivory white. It works on the white paper and it works on the black paper as well. Of course, it's not as great as like a Jelly Roll white, but it still is really pretty. And I love that if it was just plain white, it wouldn't work at all on the white paper. So I like that they gave that to us. But look, we've got a true red. Do you know how hard it is to find a really good true red in the gel pen world? And here we have it in this ballpoint pen. Awesome. Next time you're looking for a true red, you might want to think Mattehop. But we've got a couple different yellowy colors. Look, even like the oranges are two very different oranges. We've got two very different pinks. The greens are pretty. So we could do flowers, we could do wood, we could do all kinds of things with these colors that they've given us. I'm really impressed by the colors and that they all feel different and seem different from each other. Even on black, which sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes, like if you look at these Jelly Roll retractable metallics, when you lay them down, the color just sort of melts away into the black paper and it's hard to tell whether that's green or whether that's blue or vice versa. It's hard to tell. But on these ones here, they are just standing up and you know that's a red, you know that's a pink, blues, greens. There's no guessing here on what color is what. What do you think? Are you as impressed as I am? One thing that I didn't like is the ink as it was laying down onto the paper. It's doing something called railroading. That's when the tip of the pen drags through the wet ink and leaves sort of a blank spot in the middle of that line. Let me show you up close. It'll be very evident, like on the green. You can see that the lines almost look like a double tiny little thin lines. But when you do the stippling, the little dots, that all goes away and it's not as evident. Let me show you on the white as well in case that shows up better on your screen. So the railroading is a bit of an issue, and I'd like to test to see when you just write, like normal writing, does the railroading happen. So I'm going to grab, I've got this book called Flower Bliss Volume 2. It's printed on my favorite paper for gel pens, our mixed media paper. And I'm going to flip to the back because I had Steve put some blank paper into the back of this book for just such a situation. Before we try the writing though, I do want to mention the box is cute and clever and fun and colorful and all that good stuff, but it's kind of impractical for finding the right colors in the back. I ended up taking the whole box out like this, and then it's sort of hard to manage them. So I think if I use these in the future, which so far I'm really excited about using them and adding them to my Pentel collection, I'm going to take them out of the box because it's just a little too fiddly for me. So let's play around with this really pretty yellow-orange, kind of a peachy color. I think that will show up on the screen, and we can do some writing. Oh, that's the other thing, is that they all wrote beautifully from the very first pull. Take the cap off and they were all writing. None of them had to be scribbled on to get going. Okay, that's the yellow-orange. Let me test a few more and then we'll look at them closely and see how we like the way the lines are drawing out. If you are enjoying this video, please take a moment to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, I am trying so hard to get my first plaque here on YouTube, and I am getting so close. Please take a moment to subscribe and help our channel out. Thank you. All right, I used each pen, did some words and a straight line. And I played around a little bit with doing a dual color down here on the word Pentel. So what we want to look for is consistency in the lines, and make sure there's no skipping and no pooling and no railroading. Those are like the three no-nos with pens in the pen world. So here you can see some pooling. Let me mark it for us. I'll use a black pen. But like on this line we have some pooling here. Here, 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 here. There was one skip here. Railroading, I see some railroading here. This is just a quick, on the B, there was a lot of railroading. Yep, railroading all the way down on my B's and the L's. So it's like the downstrokes. We've got some railroading issues going on. Pooling, is there any more pooling? No, these ones did good. So pooling and skipping, there was only one time that it skipped, was on this yellow-orange color. That's the only skipping. So skipping, it does great. Pooling, it depends on the pen. Some of them there's no pooling, and a few of them there's a lot of pooling. So pooling is when there's a big blob of ink in the line as you're drawing along. So that's pooling. And then railroading, yeah, it's still a big problem with these pens. And you can see it here in the word Mattehop. Let me bring that up nice and close. You can see those T's have railroads going through them. So it's really like the downstrokes of my writing is creating those railroads. So as far as a writing tool, I think they're fine. They're not like spectacular, but there's no skipping, and that's really important. And I love the bold line that's coming out. I think the next test I want to do is see how they color. I want to see if they flow out really pretty, if we can do some scribble blending, all that kind of thing that I love to do with gel pens. Can we do that with the ballpoint Mattehop Pentel pen? Let's do a little coloring. Typically when I'm coloring small details, that's when I like to reach for pens for coloring and doing illustrations. So I am looking to see how well these work in these tiny little details that I'm doing. I'm also doing just a basic scribble blend between two different colors to see how the two pens come together. Now, one thing I've noticed right off as I'm coloring is that because the ink dries more opaque, it looks different when I look back, and I can see my little mistakes, because if I go even the tiniest bit over an illustrated line, you can tell. So that's one thing I can tell you right off, is these are very opaque enough to cover the illustrated lines. Alright, I'm done with the little branch here on this illustration, and that was enough for me to get a feel for how they color. And they flow amazing, and they dry relatively quick, but the good thing is that there's this open time where the ink isn't dry yet, where you can do some blending. So let me show you how that worked out. Now I'll try to hold it really still here, and then I'll lift it up to screen. But you can see the blending worked sometimes. In the vine here of the branch, I tried to do a light to dark green blend, and you do that by scribbling the two inks together while they're still wet. Now from afar it was successful, but when you bring it up and look closer, you can see the blend as it dried. They just didn't come together, the two kinds of inks. Now I did a two-color ink blend on all the leaves too, with the yellow-green and the yellow. And I think that was a little more successful because they are closer in value. So if you were to squint your eyes and look at this sheet, the dark green is a lot stronger in value. It pops out at you better. It's more vibrant of a color. So to have it blend from the dark to the lighter yellow green, it had a hard time with that. But when you squint at the sheet at the leaves, the yellow and the yellow-green are almost the same. They almost blend totally together. So that means they're about the same value. That's why I think they blended together better. Now another problem I had was anytime I wiggled, like I said, if I went over an illustrated line, at first it looked fine when the ink was wet, but as soon as that ink dries, you can see that I have a problem. So the illustration lines get lost. Now that's the same deal right here with these little pink flowers, pink and purple flowers. I did some two-color blends, and the illustration lines inside the little petals are totally gone with the ink, and I'm okay with that. I think they look pretty and bright and vibrant. And then in the center of the flower, I tried something wild and crazy. I took the ivory and the brown and I tried to mix them and create a new color, and I think it worked because we have a really pretty tan color. So there are some mixing of inks that can happen here, although you have to be really quick because the ink will dry. And then like this one here, the brown in the center didn't ever really stir in or blend. I did a better job the second time when I did that blend there in the center of that flower. So like I said, problems with the pen. Because it's so opaque, it covers up the illustration lines, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing depending on the situation. So it's a property of the ink that we need to keep in mind. It's why it works so good on black paper. If you have a coloring book that's printed on black paper, these pens will stand up and do a beautiful job. So I highly recommend that. Now, what do I love about the pens? I love the colors that they gave us. I love the thick creaminess. I love watching them dry and become more and more opaque. I think there's something magical here, and I can't wait to use them in chorus in conjunction with the other Pentel pens and see what kind of effects that we can create with such an opaque pen mixed with these other Sparkle Pop and Crazy Pop and all these dual metallic type pens. Now I have one concern. If they're using a similar ink to the Milky Pop, now that's a Milky Pop gel pen, these are the Mattehop ballpoint pens. So I'm hoping it's a different formula of ink altogether because, like I told you at the beginning of this video, my Milky Pop pens just dried up way too fast for me to even be able to use all the ink. I don't want that to happen with the Mattehop. I want to be able to use every drop of ink that they've given us. So we pay good money for these pens, and I want to be able to use all the ink. So that's my only concern, but only time will tell on that. It might be just fine because it could be a totally different formula. I'm so excited about these pens. I'm so grateful to our followers who suggested I try them out. I can't wait to try them on top of color pencil. That's one thing I'm really curious about because they were so good at tiny little details. Could we use it as highlights or deepening up the shadows with some of the different coloring mixed media situations? That's another question. If you have a question for me about these new pens, something you want me to try, a future follow-up video on how they're doing, let me know in the comments so that I can produce another video that will be exciting and helpful to you. I'm so excited about these pens. Thank you for watching this video with me. There's my pretty little illustration, and they feel cool too. Like they're a little raised because it's such thick ink. It's very cool. I like these pens. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I had fun. I had so much fun creating this video. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye. Thanks Pentel for making such great pens.